It all began here in 1904 on the south side of Buffalo Bayou near historic Glenwood Cemetery. Most of us drive by it every day. Back then, the Houston Country Club was known as the Houston Golf Club, and it sat on a piece of land that was leased from Rice Institute and originally obtained with a little help from a couple of the club's earliest members. Board President Will Rice, nephew of William Marsh Rice Sr. and the man for whom Rice University was named, along with Captain James A. Baker, founder of Baker Botts Law Firm, and grandfather of one of our longtime members, former Secretary of State James A. Baker III. Houston Golf Club's original 9 holes were laid out at slightly less than 3,000 yards. A simple one-story structure with a wraparound porch was constructed for under $1,200. As Houston Golf Club's membership grew and Houston was expanding to the south, elegant homes soon appeared on Harrisburg Road and Lawndale Street. Directors of the club proposed buying land in this remote and beautiful neighborhood. On May 5, 1908, a plan was set to organize a country club with its mission to promote outdoor life, innocent sports and amusements, and the cultivation of the higher ideals of life. Current members of the Houston Golf Club were to receive $25 credit on their subscriptions to the new Houston Country Club. Incoming members of the club were allowed the privileges of the golf club on payment of regular dues of $1.50 a month. William M. Rice, Jr. was named its first president. Among the club's earliest members were lumber barons John Kirby and William Carter, oilmen Joe Cullinan, founder of the Texas Company, which became Texaco, William Farish, Robert Blaffer, and Walter Fondren, all original partners and founders of the Humble Oil Company, and finally, City Father Jesse Jones. The first club golf tournaments were held between Houston Country Club and Galveston Country Club, and in 1910, the first Texas Golf Association Championship on an 18-hole course was played at Houston Country Club, under the careful eye of the club's first golf professional, Willie McGuire. It was in 1913, during the U.S. Open Championship in Brookline, Massachusetts, that golf's popularity began to explode in America, thanks in part to young American amateur Francis Ouimet, who won the championship by beating 2 famous British professionals, Harry Vardon and Ted Ray. Houston Country Club pro Willie McGuire was there to compete and also to invite Vardon and Ray to play an exhibition match at the Houston Country Club against himself and club champion Brian Hurd. Because of the great interest generated by the exhibition, the club began to plan an amateur tournament called the Houston Invitational, which was played from 1914 all the way to 1954. Well-known American amateurs migrated to Houston each February to compete against Texas's best players, including Houston's Ozzie Carlton, George Rotan, and Howard Hughes. Houston women had taken to the game of golf as well. In April 1917, the Women's Texas Golf Association held its second championship at the club. George Rotan moved to Houston in the 20s. He was president of the Texas Golf Association and won the state golf championship 5 times. He was also the first Texan to compete on the American Walker Cup team. In 1925, the club's board amended the bylaws to allow women to become stockholding members. And also that year, the Allegro Club was founded, and the first group of debutantes bowed into Houston society. In 1928, cotton broker and club member Edwin McLean changed golf significantly by inventing the sand wedge. Unfortunately, McLean got little credit because it was declared illegal by the USGA after the great Bobby Jones used a production model while winning the 1930 British Open. But the next generation wedge also had a Houston Country Club connection. It's said that Gene Sarazen got the idea for his version of the wedge from Howard Hughes, who speculated about changes that would make the wedge legal. In January of 1935, legendary golfer Bobby Jones accepted an invitation from the Houston Junior League to play a benefit match at the Houston Country Club. Jones was paired with member Ozzie Carlton against Houston Country Club pro Willie McGuire and River Oaks Club professional Jack Burke Sr. In June of 1947, golf as we knew it would change forever. Club member Dick Jackson applied for and received a U.S. patent for a, quote, vehicle for transporting players on golf courses. It was called the Arthritis Special, and in July, Jackson, in an interview with Golf World magazine, said he had a body shop repairman weld a metal park bench to the front of a Cushman scooter. The contraption would carry 4 golfers and 4 sets of clubs, plus a 4-caddy on the seat and back of the driver. At the beginning, carts could only be used on golf courses with a physician's letter or prescription, but before long, what started as a novelty became the order of things. By 1953, new neighborhoods were springing up west of River Oaks. After months of discussion, often heated, the members voted to move the club to Timber Grove, later Tanglewood, and purchase the property from developer William Farrington, who had been a club member since 1951. In the fall of 1954, popular golf course architect Robert Trent Jones was commissioned to tour potential club sites and reported that the new subdivision Tanglewood was an outstanding piece of golf property. The Potomac Drive Golf Course, designed by Jones, opened on January 2, 1957. And 2 weeks later, more than 1,500 members attended the opening of the new clubhouse. Fast forward to May 1964. Houston Country Club was the site for Shell's Wonderful World of Golf match between Ben Hogan and Sam Snead. It was a rain-soaked and heavily delayed 2-day match, but the galleries were large and very appreciative. Hogan won 1-up. Houston Country Club members have always been at the forefront of civic leadership and public service, and in 1988, one club member had reached the pinnacle of service to his country. George Herbert Walker Bush was elected the 41st President of the United States. Accompanying President Bush to Washington was fellow club member, tennis doubles partner, and newly appointed Secretary of State James Baker. Actually, James Baker won 7 tennis singles championships and 2 doubles championships with his partner, the future U.S. President George Bush. When President and Mrs. Bush returned to Houston, the club inaugurated the For Members Only events, in which President Bush was asked to address the club. Subsequently, James Baker and Denton Cooley were also asked to speak at For Members Only events. Special celebrations have always figured prominently on the club's calendar, from the epic Millennium Gala of 2000 on New Year's Eve 1999 to 4th of July with children's swimming races and fireworks. Black tie events honoring past club presidents, and holiday gatherings for family and friends. Then in 2008, Houston Country Club turned 100. The President's Ball began the year. In March, President and Mrs. Bush and Secretary Baker and Mrs. Baker graciously accepted an invitation to share thoughts on their lives during a conversation moderated by Executive Director of the Bush Presidential Library, Roman Popaduc. The Derby Day party was resurrected. Special golf and tennis tournaments were held, and the Centennial Gala wrapped up the year in November. The Houston Country Club has been fortunate to have an outstanding staff and management team since its beginning. Many of our staff members have served the club for decades, and we've grown close to them and their families. In May of 2010, 2 new events were held benefiting the Employee Scholarship Fund, the Scholarship Gala and Silent Auction, raising a combined total of $115,000 for the fund, which provides college scholarships for the children of club employees. This is just one example of the respect and affection the members have for the management and staff of our club. The spirit of the people who have made Houston a great city has made Houston Country Club a great club that has grown and prospered through 2 world wars, the Great Depression, 9/11, and all of the booms and busts of the oil and real estate businesses. Today, Houston Country Club remains focused on the proud traditions of family, friends, and lasting relationships. And the legacy continues.